TikTok has really made it to seem like it's normal to take a girl's man. Hi y'all, I'm Yealaaaa and this is my podcast for the girls, and today we're here with...
Hi, I'm Serenity, her sister.
Yeah! And then...
And I'm Jacqueline, her friend.
Okay, and today we're going to be talking about relationships. So I know when I did like the whole form thing, a lot of you guys asked me questions like about relationships and like high school relationships, and so Serenity's gonna here talk about like her experience in relationships and college and everything, and then Jacqueline's gonna tell you about like how she's grown in her relationships, and we're all just gonna give our perspective on relationships. So I always have my questions on my phone, so we're gonna start with that. And then the first question I think I really wanted to ask you guys was, okay, what does a relationship look like to you?
Go ahead, Jacqueline.
Relationship to me is when two people come together. They're still their own individual selves, but they're able to come together and have a nice relationship.
It's like a union.
Yeah, like they're able to be better and grow with each other better than they would if they were just alone individually.
Yeah. What do you think, Simi?
I think a relationship is just a best friend that you can be intimate with. Because you should have the same bond, the same emotional bond, the same sense of kind of comfortability as you would with a best friend, but you can also be intimate and have a sexual relationship with this person as well.
Okay, so like a best friend with like extra features.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. To me, I would say both what they said. I feel like the person I'm in a relationship with, I want us to grow and build on a spiritual level, like without the ego, without your mind, your like, like without claiming and all that. I just want us to build each other up. And then be my best friend. Like we can go out, we can have fun, I can tell you my secrets, we can talk about everything, you know what I'm saying? So like I would put both of what you guys said together in a blender and mix it together. That's what I would say like a relationship kind of is. And then my next question is, so in a relationship, how do you set healthy boundaries? How do you be like, we're in a relationship, but I still want time to myself. I still want to be my own person and be with you. Do one of you guys want to go first?
You want me to go first this time? Okay. So for me, I like my alone time a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like 5 days out of the week. Not completely alone, but I want most of the time in a relationship to be with me. Now, granted, I still want to be with you, but I like my alone time. So what I do is when I'm talking to someone before getting a relationship, I set those boundaries. So I don't talk to people at night because that's my time to journal and to reflect on myself. Because I feel like if I talk to them at night, then I get the habit of giving up myself to talk to them. And I like with that. And so I basically just communicate. Like I'm in school, so sometimes I only have a couple hours a day to talk. So I'm like, hey, I'll talk to you from this time to this time, and I'll try to text you throughout. And I don't hang out with them all days of the week, maybe 3-4 times out of the week. And when I am in the relationship, I make sure I communicate with them early on. Like, hey, I'm not neglecting you. I want to spend time with you. This is my plan for the week. Let's plan it together.
Yeah, healthy boundaries with communication.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's okay to have your alone time, but if you don't communicate that, and the other person, like, you even text me for 7 hours, and then you're like, well, I was spending time with myself. But if you don't communicate that, then it's like, the other person feels neglected, you know?
Yeah, honestly, I feel like you can do what you want with communication. You don't need texts back every 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Just tell them, like, I've even texted people or people I've talked to in the past, like, hey, I'm going to be busy all day today, but I'll call you before I go to bed, after I do all stuff. Or I'll call you at like 6 after dinner.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Communicating. What would you say, Jacqueline?
Yeah, I definitely agree.
I definitely get into you. I don't think you're going to see you. I don't think you see you, okay?
Okay, yeah, I definitely agree with Serenity where it's like you still want to have your own individualism and still be able to live your own life while in that relationship. So it's important to set those boundaries so you guys know exactly like how it is, and for every relationship it's going to be pretty different because what works for one relationship won't work for another. Some people are super clingy while other people like to stick to themselves. So I think, what Serenity said, like at the beginning of the relationship it's important to let them know like how you like things and then how you feel that way, so they don't feel like neglected like you said, or they don't feel like it's a negative thing. They rather like get to know it as like that's how you are, and they respect that. So
Yeah.
you guys, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. But then, how do you know what boundaries are for you to set? Does that make sense?
Are you asking me?
I'm asking both of you guys. Or you can just answer first.
It comes with knowing yourself, and as you go through friendships or relationships, you start to know what you like and what you don't like. Like for me, I value honesty, and I can learn that just from hanging out with my family or my friends. So in a relationship, I put my top 3, I guess you could say, qualities or characteristics. I put those first. So I need communication, I need honesty, I need loyalty. Now, obviously I need everything else, but I really emphasize those in the beginning.
Right.
So that's why I set those boundaries. Like when I talk to someone, like early on, it could be our first 2 days. So I'm like, hey, I'm gonna get to know you. I'm gonna let you know right now I'm big on communication. So when we're talking, if you take 7 hours to text back, know that I'm going to send you that message the next day and be like, hey, I'm cool, I'm done.
Right.
You know I value communication. You disrespected that, that's okay. You don't need me.
Right. And that's the
That's
thing.
kind of it.
Like, it's okay if you set boundaries and people disagree with your boundaries. It's fine. You're not for me. That's okay. I'll find someone who is, and you'll find someone who is too. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. It's just confirmation that that's not your person, so keep looking.
Yeah. Okay, so, yeah, I want to ask you, like, how do you identify your boundaries in your relationship?
Yeah, so I definitely agree with Serenity, whereas you should definitely know some important things and standards you have going into the relationship, so you know what you stand for and you know what you're looking for. But I think there's also a lot of things that you just have to navigate along the way. And then as problems arise, you guys have to consider each other's feelings, why people feel that way, and then try to come to a healthy middle ground. But then sometimes it's like, for some people, things won't work that way. And sometimes in relationships it will work. So you just have to find what works unique to your relationship. And sometimes it's just not going to be your person. But other times, if it does work out, you're just going to like grow from it and keep a healthier bond from it.
Yeah, 100%. I think we have to understand that boundaries do change as you go in a relationship. And sometimes you start to settle with how you're being treated, and sometimes they start to elevate. So it's all about like talking to your partner and working through it together.
Yeah, and I think you have to know who you are before you get into a relationship. You don't have to have yourself completely figured out, but you have to know what you like and what you don't like. Because you can't be with someone and expect them to grow and learn you if you haven't even taken time to grow and learn yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't enter a relationship and be like, not knowing the things that you expect your partner to know. Like, he's not going to know if you don't even know yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. True.
And I feel like in order to set boundaries, you have to have a certain level of, like, intuitiveness. Is that a word?
Yeah.
That's the word. With yourself, so that you know, like, I don't really like being treated like that. And I'm going to let him know that. You know what I'm saying? Like, communicate how you feel. So make sure you take time to really understand and try to, listen and pay attention to your feelings so you can know how to better communicate them when a situation happens.
Yeah, that's what I did. So this year I took 6 months to like just be in a relationship with myself. And in that I realized everything that I really like and everything that I don't like. And basically I wrote down all the things that guys did when I talked to them, when I dated them, simple interactions that I liked. And I was like, okay, if I like it, I'm not gonna make myself go without it. I want it, and I know I want it, so I'm gonna give it to myself. And I made sure I did all those things myself. So then when guys were trying to talk to me, or they were taking me on dates, I'd have this list of everything that I liked and everything that I wanted. And if I couldn't cross out at least like 10 or more things on that list, there wasn't a second date.
Yeah.
Because I know you can't give me what I want right now. And that's okay, I'm not gonna change you, I'll just go to someone who can.
Right, and that's another thing, like, you have to have, like, a standard that you set for yourself. Because, especially, like, okay, that's something I want to talk about too. When you're in high school, I personally don't recommend dating, but I mean, everybody has their own, what works for them and what works out for them. I mean, like, Jackson, she's in a relationship in high school and it works for her. But for me personally, I just think that you should explore. I mean, like, not explore like a way where it's like a word, like where it's like hoish.
I was gonna say that, but I was
like don't like sleep around, but explore, talk to guys, see what you like and what you don't like. You'll never know unless you have those interactions and have those conversations with people. I'm always for like talk to whoever you want to talk to, figure out what you like, what you don't like. And like Stormy says, everyone's hoe phase is different. My hoe phase is different from her hoe phase. Her hoe phase might be, dating or going on a different date every week. My whole phase might just be talking to a different guy, or like everyone's phase is different. So I think you just have to figure out what works for you. But in college, definitely be single.
I totally agree with you. I think like everybody needs a whole face. And like once you get in college, you'll see that it's really different. Because I had this one friend who, she's, you know, a very sexual person. So her whole face was sleeping with people, which is completely fine. And I have another friend who is not a sexual person at all. And so her face was going on a new day, like every day. And both are totally acceptable because they're teaching people how to treat them, and most importantly, they're teaching themselves how they want to be treated.
Right.
Like I was talking about the guys and making a list. I wouldn't have that list or know how I want to be treated without those experiences.
Exactly.
So don't slut yourself out.
Right.
You need to get to know people, so don't like downplay yourself or be negative for going to talk to people, because you need to. You're not going to know anything without interactions.
Yeah. And I definitely think it's super important to like be able to experience multiple people, multiple relationships, and multiple different situations, whether it's benefiting you or hurting you, like, because either way, that's how you learn what's actually for you. And then I think it's also important for people to also go through heartbreaks and go through the hard things and be in that phase before they really know what actual love would be too.
Yeah. You have to go through like the dark days to really appreciate and value what the light looks like. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta get your heart broken one time to know that I don't want to ever be put there again, but it's gonna happen. You're gonna get hurt in a relationship. Well, I don't say like that, but like
You will.
yeah, your feelings will get hurt sometimes. It's okay. You communicate and then you move forward. Don't let him like verbally abuse you or anything. But they're learning how to love each other. You're learning how to cater to each other's feelings and to each other's personalities. So sometimes you might not like something he said, just be like, you know what, I don't really like that. I don't like him talk like that. And then his response, you know what, okay, I can understand that. I'll work on it, you know? But you have to find someone who wants to communicate better, who wants to be better. And I was reading this book, and it just talks about how people should look at relationships like a spiritual practice. I'm not with someone for them to make me happy. I should already have a level of happiness within myself before I'm getting into this relationship. Because if I'm depending on you to give me a feeling, I'm never going to be truly happy because you can't give me that. I have to give that to myself first. So I feel like when you go into a relationship, you should kind of, my opinion, I think that people should look at it as a spiritual practice. We're learning from each other. We're growing. We're being better people. We're teaching each other how to grow and get up places in life. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. I agree with that to an extent.
Okay.
Like, yes, everything you said, I 100% agree with you. You should have yourself figured out. You should want to elevate with your partner, 100%. But I feel like with nowadays people, when they go into religion, they kind of...
Religion?
Spirituality.
Okay.
Religion, whatever you want to call it. When they go into that, they tie it with obsession. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, sometimes people who are overly spiritual are like, okay, I need to always be talking to God, or I need to always be praying. And I feel like when you take that into a relationship, you can kind of take those obsessive characteristics with it. And I feel like that can be toxic. I feel like some people overly rely on their spirituality.
Oh, okay. At first I was
feel like
confused.
if you bring that into a relationship, you are overly relying on your partner.
But like you said, everything can become obsessive if you abuse it. Like everything can become addictive if you abuse it. So I feel like if you abuse it, then yes. But I feel like everything in a way has a spiritual aspect. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with her. Go girl. So the other thing I wanted to ask you guys are, what are standards that you set that have really worked for you?
I'm going to talk.
Hold on, think about this.
Yeah. Okay, while she's thinking, I feel like you should always have a list, or you should make a list. Yeah. Even right now, after this episode, make a list of standards you want for yourself, or things you want to set for yourself. Ways you want to be treated, or things that you like.
Just don't get too obsessed over your list. Like, for me to keep myself in check and make sure I'm not as beautiful every single day, I make a really big list. It has like a bunch of things on it, and then I take the 10 most important. Now, I have to have the 10 most important. The other ones are like, okay, we can grow together in that.
Yeah.
Like, as I get to know you more, you might have those and you're not showing me yet. So basically with that, just don't get too fixated on your list. Like, if they don't have all of these things, then I can't date them, because that's not it. You don't want to feel like you're trying to build a person, you know? But have your key things and make sure that your key standards are being met.
Right. Like, oh, I want a man to open my doors, and then all this, I want him to have 100,000. The opening door is definitely going to be more up there than the 100,000, but it's still going to be in there, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's it. You also have to understand that sometimes you do have to teach people how to treat you. So if opening doors is something that you want, that's a little easier, so you can just communicate that. Like, I've even said it on first dates, like, hey, I like chauffeurs. I like doors being open for me. I like all this nice stuff. And a guy who really like wants to take you out and wants to chauffeur you will do it, no problem. Like, it's not a needy thing to ask. So sometimes you just have to set those boundaries and communicate those boundaries early on. Like, no man is gonna come perfect.
Yeah, those standards. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
standards.
yeah. I remember one time I just went to me out and I was like, "You don't open doors?" And he was like, "Oh, my fault, my fault." I was like, "Yeah." No, I didn't say it like that, but I was like, "Okay, you know, you new here."
I remember this one day. This is so embarrassing.
The job is like,
Oh my god. So I went this one day. And this guy, quick story. He's like really nice car. He's like, yeah, I just bought this car. It's on me. I work this job. I get paid. And I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. So first of all, he takes me to a tropical smoothie, which is like, okay, so that's on the East Coast. So it's like Jamba Juice here. Takes me to a tropical smoothie. I'm like, okay, I opened the door for him. So I let the door go halfway where he was walking through. I'm like, I'm not doing it.
right. Like, I opened the door for
And so
you.
then I'm like thinking of my order. I'm like, you can go first. And he orders, and the lady's like, that. He's like, yeah, so actually, give me a burger too. And so I'm like, not a burger, but like a flatbread. And I was like, okay. He's like, yeah, that's it. Pays. And he's like, you go ahead. And sits down in the corner and turns his back from me. He's like,
And that's the thing, like, guys know they dead wrong.
I don't feel like they always need to pay.
No.
I feel like, okay, whoever is inviting the person should pay.
I
Like,
agree.
if I ask you to hang out with me, whether it's a friend or a date, whatever, I will pay because I invited you. You're taking time out of your day to spend time with me. Now, if you invite me and it's a date, I expect you to pay.
Right.
Now,
You
we
can
can both pay. 50-50. But if you invite me, yeah.
even if we plan together.
If we plan together, then I'm cool with 50-50 because that's half me, half you, I pay for you. But if I invite you, I'm paying for you.
Yeah, I think our mom really raised us on that. She's like, if you plan to take somebody out, you pay for them.
Exactly.
Like, I plan a date for us, I'm okay. Like, I plan this. If you plan it and you think that I'm gonna split it with you, we're not gonna be going out again. I'm sorry, no disrespect. That's just one of my standards. But like, and I think society has really made it seem like, oh, girls don't want no broke guy. You gotta have all this money. Like, I'm not materialistic. My love language though is.
Yes.
Yeah, receiving gifts, but it's not like in a materialistic way. Like, it's just the little things that people notice, I think, is my thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing I want to talk about, the love languages. What are they? I think a lot of times I talk to guys, they don't know what they are.
Do you want to go over it all?
Yeah, we'll go over that.
I'll just say them.
Okay.
Just people, okay, so there's quality time.
Mm-hmm.
There's words of affirmation, which is like, I love you, you look beautiful, whatever. There's giving gifts.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's physical touch. And then there's acts of service, which is doing something for someone. So like cleaning up the house and then doing laundry. So
Yeah. And I think all five, everyone kind of has. And there's other love languages too that just aren't as like. We talked about this the other day. Like how these are the five that you need or that like are necessary, and then there's like other little ones that people have. Like young people be like, music is a love language. It probably can be, but these are the five that everyone in a way needs in their life.
yeah, so basically we're saying that some people are like, oh, my love languages are, I don't know, physical touch and words of affirmation.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean that you don't need quality time
Right.
or anything else, because I think that there are a bunch of love languages, but we just categorize them as these five because these are the five that we need to sustain life.
Mm-hmm.
You need all of them. Now, me personally, I need physical touch more than I need quality time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not a time spent person, but I still need quality time. You know, like I still want to spend time with you. I don't need to spend too much time with you.
I feel like they work in each other because in order to have quality time, in order to have physical touch, we have to be together. We can't just touch me over the phone. You know, like just do the phone. Like, but we can't do that. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like those kind of work hand in hand in a way, not like to a full extent.
Yeah,
Yeah. And then I want to talk, like, how do you cater to people's love language in a relationship without neglecting your own?
I'll let Jack answer.
Yeah.
But they've been talking for a minute.
Right.
Yeah, I definitely think like people all have different ways of loving each other,
Mm-hmm.
and it's important to be able to like learn how you want to be loved, but then how the other person wants to be loved as well. Because that can easily be misunderstood when people have like different love languages that they're not really meeting on. So it's important to understand that so you guys can both adjust to each other's and have a healthy balance for each other's.
Yeah. I feel like when you're getting serious or like when you're talking to a guy, you should always ask her like, what's your love language? And what's, you know, and she's like, oh, what's yours? So you know how to love that person properly, because I can love you the way that I love. That may not be the way that you love. So then to you might feel unloved because I'm just, you know, giving you all these gifts and you're like, I don't even care for gifts. I like being hugged or like being, you know, like spending time. And I'm like, well, I'm loving you, and how are you, like, why are you mad? This is how I love, you know? So it can definitely get misinterpreted if you don't know the other person's love language, and try your best to just cater to them. I mean, you're still in some ways gonna love in your love language because that's kind of, you know, how you know to love, but just always make sure you're like, oh, he likes, you know, quality time. I'm gonna make sure that we hang out, or like, you know, we just sit at the park or something, so he knows that I'm trying to love him where he's at, or at his love language.
Yeah.
You need to check in on your relationship. So
Yeah.
I check in on my mental health and my relationship with myself. You have to check in on your relationship. Like, monthly checks are fine. Like, what do you need from me to make you feel loved?
Right.
What can I do to be a better girlfriend? What am I doing now that's not making you feel loved or appreciated? What is one thing you think I can work on to better our relationship for both of us?
Yeah.
What is one thing you want to prioritize together? Like, I feel like sometimes when you get in the flow of things, you forget to go back and check.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, you need monthly checks. You need
Yeah.
relationship checks. Like, you would check on a car, you would check on a relationship.
And sugar's not dead. People think that when you're together for such a long time, people just forget that you still want to be taken out, wine and dine. We're not even taken out, but you still want to like do things you were doing in the beginning of your relationship to know that you're still valued, you're still loved, you're still like my hot girlfriend or my hot boyfriend. You know what I'm saying? Like you're still the it girl. You're the it boy. And I think what's what I talk about?
I was gonna have a question.
Oh, you have a question?
I'm not the leader of the
No, ask your question. This is for all of us.
Because I'm, you know, I'm a grown woman. Anywho, but how would you say that kind of your guys' relationships nowadays differ from my relationship? So kind of like explain what yours' high school relationship looks like and high school dating looks like, so I can talk about the difference between college dating and high school dating.
Right.
In high school, people are still learning and figuring out who they are themselves and still growing as their own person. So I think it's definitely way harder because while they're trying to learn about their own relationship, they're still trying to figure out themselves individually. And then also, there are a lot more restrictions on high schoolers depending on what type of family you grew up in and who you're around, because it's like you're kind of stuck in more of a less free environment. You're more restricted. You have to care about what you have going on at home with your family or what rules they have set. And it's not so like free, so I feel like it's... Wait, am I even supposed to talk about high school?
No.
Oh,
you can keep going.
Okay. But yeah, but I feel like in college it's a lot different because people are independent, they're living their own lives, they're learning how to live for themselves, cook for themselves, clean for themselves. And that's like when you actually learn who a whole different part of your own self is, and then I feel like that really affects you in a relationship.
Yeah, and you're right. Yeah, that's a really good answer. What were you saying?
No, okay, I was trying to go her, yeah, based off of her. Like, in high school, I think it's just a stressful time. You're trying to, like you said, figure out who you are. Your parents are strict. You can't hang out as much. You're probably doing a sport, you know, trying to focus on your grades, to focus on, then you have this pressure of figuring out what you want to do after high school, so it's just so much pressure. And then you throw a relationship on top of that. It's just, I feel like if you're not really, you know, putting in the effort into yourself and having priorities and having your priorities set, then your relationship's kind of going to be all over the place. You're not really going to know how to manage all the things. One of your top priorities are going to get pushed down to the bottom because you're trying to balance so much and don't know how to like set a set system for yourself. And I think when you're at college, you know, you have the more of a maturity level. You have your own space. You can more be so your own person. I feel like when you hang out with people more, you get to know them more. You know, than just in high school you have a text relationship. You see your boyfriend at school and that's really it. He's not really taking you on dates. He don't really got a job yet unless he's a junior or a senior, you know, so high school relationships are like pre-gaming.
But it's nice. It's always nice to see like a new perspective.
Yeah.
Because I am in college, so all I'm seeing is like the dating perspective from college, you know? So it's nice to hear from you guys.
How was college from high school? This is a little sticky subject for her.
No, because I feel like, okay, I feel like there's so many different things you can talk about in that. Okay. Okay, so there's like dating. I'm not gonna say this is college dating, but sometimes for me, as I'm getting older, I noticed that in high school I would be like, oh, dating, I'm your girlfriend. We're dating.
Right.
But now that I'm in college, I'm like, no, dating doesn't mean I'm in a relationship with you. Dating means you're taking me out on dates. Like, doesn't mean I'm dating you, but I am dating in general. You know,
we're getting to know each other.
I'm going on dates. And it could be one person, it could be two people, but I'm just going on dates. So I feel like that's a big difference. Like, when I talk to people from a younger generation, like, are you dating? I'm like, yeah, I'm dating. They're like, who are you dating? I'm like, what do you mean who am I dating? Like, I'm just going on dates. You know? Yeah, I'm dating in general. I'm not dating one person. But I feel like in terms of just relationships in college, now I'm not speaking for everybody, but I feel like in college a lot of people value short-term connections, especially when it comes to intimacy. And I'm not saying the stigma is like real or the stereotype is real, but yeah, a lot of people do just value short-term connections, or am I allowed to talk about that? Let's just have sex basically, and let's not talk, let's not actually get to know each other. How? Like, am I just like talking about this stuff?
Yeah, it's like intercourse.
Okay, yeah, so I'm like basically, let me be open with y'all, like, I did it and I realized like, it's not all that.
Right.
It's like, there's so much pressure in college, like, you don't need a man, you shouldn't hook up someone, you shouldn't have sex. Or going through a couple of years and reading my books and really like taking time to work on myself, in college you really, really have to know your worth. And set those boundaries, and I'm realizing that men will respect you a lot more when you do put those in place. Like I told you, after that experience, I had set rules for myself. Like, look, I'm not sleeping with you until like we meet this, until we're talking for this long, until we go on dates. Our first date is not going to be in your room. And like men will definitely respect you and treat you better when you set those boundaries. Like I've had to tell men, like, they'll be like, come over, and I'll be like, no, I like to be taken on dates. If you can't take me on dates, that's fine. But I will 100% find someone who will. You know?
I think that goes for high school too. Not even with the whole in your room thing, but if you set your standards now while you're in high school or while you're young, and you follow through with them, when you get in college, you can probably set yourself a lot of hardship, a lot of heartbreak or terrible experiences, or you know, set yourself from what friends you went through.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying? No, it's like that, but like, you know, like if you would have, you know, had the knowledge before, you would have happened. But like, it's a learning experience. Everything's a learning curve. So yeah, to teach you guys, just make sure you have standards set for yourself and you respect yourself. Men respect you a lot more when you respect yourself.
100%.
Like everyone respects you more when you respect yourself. When you have boundaries and you have standards, men are like, oh, she's not the girl I can run game on. She's not the girl I can do this and this with. Because they're gonna know she don't do that, you know? And like, if you're around people and they disrespect your boundaries or they disrespect a standard you have set, those are not the people for you. Because the right people will not feel uncomfortable, they won't feel disrespected in any way by your standards. They'll respect it. You know, like if Jacqueline told me, oh Yealaaaa, I don't like when you say that to me. Okay, that's fine. I'm not gonna be like, oh, I can't be her friend anymore because she won't let me talk how I want to talk. No, she has a standard in place for her life, and I'm gonna respect that as a friend because I want her to respect my standards too. Like for example, I know a lot of women who are like, do not call me the B word. I don't like that. And some men will be like, oh, I can't mess with her. She'll let me talk how I want to talk. Like, no, I have a standard, and if you're not gonna respect it, it's fine. You're not my person. That's cool. We'll go our separate ways. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think something important to note is not just have standards for yourself and know what you want, but be able to have the confidence and the self-respect for yourself to really stand on it.
Right.
Because I noticed like a lot of girls, they know what's right, they know what's wrong, they know what they want, but when they address it, they're not willing to really stand on it and really enforce that. And that's what keeps people in these bad relationships, because they'll address it, but nothing was really done about it. So that's why it's like even more harm to the relationship, in the sense where it's like that boy will now see that he can take even more advantage of you, knowing that you know it's a problem, but you're still with him.
Right, and he'll like walk over you in a sense.
I'm glad you talked about that, because I do that. And it's not because you don't know, like you know, it's confidence. You lack the confidence to stand up for yourself and to stand up for your standards. So I understand. I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, I feel like, I don't want to say high school women, but I feel like a lot of women prioritize men over themselves. Like they feel like they don't know their worth without a man. Or they'll be like, oh, I have a man, look at my man, you know, like treat me better because I have this man.
But girl, look at you. Girl, forget your man, you cute. Like, I'm an it girl.
I don't think people understand, I think I was talking to you about this yesterday, that everyone craves comfortability. Like our energies want to be matched. So when you feel like you are prioritizing a man above yourself, you are making him uncomfortable. When people are uncomfortable, they run. So I feel like people think like putting these people on a pedestal or making them an idol is like drawing them in, but really you're pushing them away because now they're uncomfortable, because now they feel like they're higher or above you and they want you guys to be equal.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about too, because a lot of people think you have to like, we were talking about this the other day, how you have to, no, we should talk about that too, but how you should be, okay, well, oh my God, something I want to talk about. First, I want to talk about not accepting the norms, like not being excited over them, you know, like I'm not going to say who, but I was, you know, I knew somebody who was getting in the car with this guy who was picking her up, and he opens the door and she's like, why'd you get out the car? I was like, oh, God. I was like, girl, why would you say that? Because now he's like, well, I'm going to open the door for her. Like, you know, like that should be a normal for you. I mean, everyone's standards are different, but, you know, a man being a gentleman to you, it might be uncomfortable because you might not be used to it, but don't make it known that, you know, you're not used to it, because then he won't do it. He'll be like, oh, she don't care about that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so you're talking about not accepting the bare minimum, basically.
Or not being excited over the bare minimum. Like somebody's like, I got a morning text. Girl, that is nothing. You can get an automated text to text you good morning at the end of the day every morning. You know what I'm saying? Like you shouldn't be excited over like the basic things men should do for you. Like a guy should open the door for you. A stranger man should open the door for you. That should just be a gentleman thing to do. You know what I'm saying? Like you shouldn't be excited over those things. I mean, maybe internally like, oh, this feels good to have somebody do this for me. But if you show a man that that's not the standard you have for your life, he will not meet you there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He will not treat you that way, because he'll be like, oh, she don't need that. I'm not gonna open the door ever again. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I was talking to someone a couple days ago and they said something and they were like so excited. But I took a step back, I was like, that is the bare minimum.
Right.
Wait, what did this person say? Oh my God, I don't know. No, but it was one of, she was like so excited and I felt bad, but I looked at her, I was like, huh?
Like, so that is the basic bottom line thing a man should do.
Yeah, but it was like really basic.
We're gonna say a prayer for her at the end of this.
No, I wish I knew what it was, but yeah, it was just something that was like, what are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
Like I was trying to help her, but I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I think it was like, oh, like he didn't make me pay for his gas this time. And I was like, wait, he didn't pay for it? But he didn't.
Right.
I was like, I didn't pay for his own gas. She's like, no. I was like, wait, what? How would you pay for
Girl, we're gonna talk about this. Right. We're gonna have a call.
Anywho,
Yeah. And I think the other thing is too, like we were all kind of been talking about this whole time, you have to have faith in yourself and have a confidence within yourself, and you don't have to know the extent of your worth, but you have to know that you are worthy of being treated well.
Yeah.
Like a man should treat you well, and if you're in a bad situation, you have to find the courage to get out of it. Like we all know in our heads this isn't right, but we're just so, like you said, we're so comfortable and we don't want to leave because, you know, we all kind of live based off fear. We're all like, well, what if someone doesn't love me, or I don't like being alone? You gotta get out of that. You gotta work through that, because you will stay in a relationship that's not for you just because you don't want to be alone. There is so much power and love and positivity in being alone. There's so much solitude in it that you really gotta find that. You really gotta go through that and figure out your worth, because you cannot expect a man to treat you your worth if you don't even know it, because he's only gonna treat you the best that you treat yourself. Like Jacqueline said, you really gotta stand on your standards and your boundaries, because people will always respect you more. Even if they don't want to be your friend anymore because they don't agree with your standard or whatever, they're at least gonna respect you, walk away. You know what? She stood on her word. She stood on what she said, and I can respect her, but I don't gotta be her friend, and that's cool.
A lot of women are probably gonna be like, well, how do I find my worth? How do I know where I'm at?
Yeah.
Pay attention to who you're attracting, because how do I get into this without getting too deep into this? Basically, your reality reflects your mentality. So if you really pay attention to who you're attracting, what's going on with you, it'll tell you what's going on within yourself.
Right.
Does that make any sense?
Your mind creates your world. So if your mind is negative, everything in your life is going to be negative, because that's how your conditioned mind is going to work. So if you stay in like people talk about, if you stay in a positive energy in a positive mentality, positive mindset, positive environment, everything around you will consistently stay positive. I know it's hard to like do those things, so I'm gonna have an episode about that too. Stay tuned. But yeah, you gotta finding your worth is definitely a long journey. But as long as you're being self-aware in situations, like if you want to find your worth in your relationship because you love your man, girl, love your man. But if you want to find it in your relationship, do self-introspection. Look at how you're handling things. Look at how you're reacting to things. And like when you like something, be like, oh, I liked that. And take note of that in your head and acknowledge that. Oh, I don't really like that. Take note of that and address it. You know what I'm saying? It's all about how you are in the present moment. And communication is everything in your relationship. If you can communicate how you feel, you'll be doing great. That's what I want to talk about. I remember I was getting into with somebody, and I personally felt like I was doing a really good job communicating. And at the end of it, they were just like, well, I feel like I'm doing nothing right. You just keep talking about what I'm doing. Da, 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 da. It's like, when you communicate, it's not to say that you're not doing anything right. It's just we're different people, so I have to adjust to how you are, and you're gonna have to adjust to how I am. That doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. It just means I prefer things a little bit differently, you know? So it's when you communicate, it doesn't mean that you're necessarily doing something completely wrong. It's just that doesn't work for me, you know?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I think communication is definitely very key in relationships, because I think a lot of people know when things don't feel right or things aren't right, but they're just too scared and they don't want to leave or bring up those problems because it's gonna threaten their relationship, which you should never be scared to like leave anyone or have a relationship end, because if it's not for you, you really shouldn't settle for it at all.
Right.
Yeah.
Because what's for you will come for you. And like I remember growing up, it was really hard for me going back to like self-worth and standards. Like I knew like my first boyfriend, I was super happy with him, but he wasn't even meeting the bare minimum. and then yeah, and then once I got past that and I got someone who gave me the bare minimum, I was super excited, just like that girl certainly was mentioned.
Right.
And it's like, and then even after that, then I got a boyfriend who actually treated me above my standards, way exceeding my standards, and that's showing me like a whole different type of self-worth than
I believe what's for you cannot pass you. So if doors are closing, if people aren't working out, let it go.
Right.
Let it go. And you said something again about like fear, and all healing is the release of fear. So once you stop being scared, you are healing.
Yeah.
I was gonna say something else.
I got definitely more
I think
topics.
we talk about like, cause you were talking about communication, and don't get me wrong, I am a big advocate on communicating, like big communicator. But there is such thing as over communicating, especially in relationships. Like you have to pick your battles.
Right.
Because over communicating can drain a person. It can feel like they're doing nothing right when that's not what you're trying to say. You know?
Right.
Like if I'm like, Yealaaaa, I'm trying to help you be a better person, but you're messy. And I tell you you're messy every day, 5 times a day. In my mind, I'm like, I'm just hoping you're doing it faster. And in your mind, you're probably like, she's nagging me.
Right.
So I can be like, I've said it once, I'm gonna let you work on it.
Right. And some things, not all things, but some things that you feel like you need to communicate are just kind of things you gotta work out with yourself. Sometimes though, like some things you may be overthinking as yourself when you're trying to come at your partner like, well, I don't even know if you really like me. I don't even know if you really love me.
So
but has he said that? Has he done anything to show that he doesn't? No. So that's something that you gotta work on. You can't put everything on your partner as like well, I'm communicating. No, you're like,
you're projecting.
Yeah, you're projecting your past. That's something that I want to talk about too, is you can't bring your past trauma into your new relationship. Right. Old baggage gotta be old baggage. Leave that at the baggage claim. Like, this relationship is not for that right now.
Yeah, I definitely think people like tend to, I know in my past, I had boyfriends, I would be hurt, and I didn't give myself the necessary time to heal, and I never really properly healed on my own. So it was like, I feel like people go from relationship to relationship, whether, like, regardless of how you feel about them, you need to work with those problems within yourself first, or else those problems that were in the first relationship, if you never healed from them or dealt with them, they're gonna show up in this relationship, and they're gonna keep, they're gonna keep repeating until you finally deal with them and learn new lessons, because the lesson will always stay the same, but it could be put in through new people in your life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want to feel like you're punishing your boyfriend for your ex's decision.
Yeah, and like each time you bring your trauma to a new relationship, it magnifies, it grows, it gets bigger and bigger because it's more trauma you're adding on to it. You gotta heal from that and let it go. Like some things, like I think a lot of times we hold on to things because we have a resistance towards it. Like we don't want to let it go, we don't want to do it based off fear, based off whatever. But you have to let things be what they are. Like yes, that happened and you have to move forward. The more you hold on to it, the more it starts to become part of your identity. You know, like my ex cheated on me, so now I'm a cheater. Now I gotta cheat on women. Like no, like that happened to you. You have to accept it because it's happened and let it move forward. She owes me an apology. You have to move forward, whether she gives you that apology or not, whether you get that closure from him or not. You have to continue to move forward in your life, no matter what. Like you gotta accept it for what it is. Like what's that one thing I used to go around like, it is what it is. No, like for real. Like it is what it is, and it happened, and you gotta just keep moving forward. That's something I'm talking about. I think a lot of times people say you just need to get over him. You just need to get over him. You have to get through things. You don't just get over them. You don't get over like your first heartbreak or things like that. Like you don't get over them, you get through them, and then you continue to get through them, and you get through life. You don't get over life. You don't get over certain things, like little things like, oh, I spilled that drink on my shirt. I'll get over it. I spilled it. But like big things, you have to just get through them, and that's okay. Yeah. A lot of times your friends will be like, why aren't you over it right now? Why aren't you done with it right now? Why aren't you done with him? That's another thing. You're going to keep going back as many times until you are done. No matter what she says or she says, until I feel as like that was the last straw for me, then I'm going to stop. Because your friends are going to tell you whatever. They have an outside perspective, so they're not going to know what you're feeling. Take it day by day. When you always have to get over it, you're never actually going to get over it because you don't know how to get over something. You just know how to get through them. It's a process. Like making your big goal just getting over something is just going to keep neglecting that problem and keep it coming back into your life. And like you really need to take the time to heal from it so you can grow from it. Rather than like just have it sitting there and have it keep coming back and keep hurting you in different ways. Where like you can become what you didn't heal from. And now, that's even worse. Yeah.
I have something I was going to say and it keeps like slipping from me.
Girl, just interrupt.
But I don't know, I do feel like there is a stigma like, oh my god, she's broken up with her ex for like 3 years and she's still not over it. Yeah. First of all, that's what I was going to say. All your problems are created with your perspective. Like, legit, your perspective. Not mine, not hers. So whatever I think doesn't matter because it's not my problem. It's not made for me. It's not made for what I'm going through. Oh my gosh. So I feel like sometimes, because I have this friend, and she's still stuck on her ex, and so sometimes I find myself like, girl, like, get over it. Right. But then I think, like, when I was there, I'm like, okay, I was still stuck on it because there were still things that I need to learn from. Right. That was basically it saying, like, hey, you haven't reflected enough, so I'm going to keep it on your focus, on your mental until you figure this out. Like, I'm not taking it out of from you, So with that, your process, your journey is completely yours. So don't let people peer pressure you into getting over it or getting through it faster. Take your time. Because honestly, the more you rush it, the harder it is. Right. Your healing process is your healing process. No matter how long it takes for you, just, don't take too long. Like, take your time. Don't dwell on anything. I think the most times we dwell on situations is because, like I said, we haven't accepted it. Everything in moderation. Too much of anything is bad. Yeah. Too much dwelling is bad. Eventually get out of bed, girl. You can't be in bed for 2 weeks now. Yeah. Just be nice to yourself. But like understand it. And you'll know too, like when it's time and you're just dragging it on, you'll feel it. Yeah. When something hurts, take time to be heard. Like that's what I always say. Every emotion, feel it to the fullest extent because every emotion comes and it passes. So if you're hurt right now, be heard. Don't try to be like, have to get over being sad. No, you can be hurt. If that hurt your feelings, it's okay to be hurt. But don't be hurt for 2 years now. Like, girl, you've been hurt for too long. I think it's important also, like, healing is not a linear process. There's going to be days where you're feeling really good and you feel a lot better, like there was no problem at all. And there's going to be days where it's really hard all over again. And just because it gets hard after it's been good doesn't mean you're not progressing still. Right. It comes in waves and, like, it's never going to be so
clear-cut, just happy. Like, you just have to find happiness in the process.
Yeah, find peace, solitude, trust the journey, have faith in yourself. That's just what I want you guys to always know, like to have faith in yourself and everything that you do in your relationships, in your friendships, in your personal life. Like, once you have faith, confidence will grow. Everything else will grow, Privacy from social media.
What do you mean?
Like, yeah.
I thought you were talking about like privacy relationship.
What?
Like keeping your relationship private from
Yeah,
social media.
yeah, or like,
Oh,
that's
that's
like
what you're
just
talking
having a level of privacy in your relationship. And I
Like
want
privacy in social media or like privacy in general?
like privacy in your relationship and then privacy with social media being in your relationship. Like, I don't feel like the internet should know every argument or disagreement we have. Like, I feel like, if our relationship should stay behind closed doors,
Yeah.
like not everything should be behind closed doors, but I feel like if we're getting into it, stuff like that, like the whole world doesn't need to know that me and you were beefing 20 minutes ago, Like,
Yeah.
I don't feel like you have, but I think every relationship is different, but I think for like all relationships should have a level of privacy.
Yeah.
Especially, oops, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Especially in high school, I think a lot of times in high school we just want to put everything on our stams and like, my man being weird right now, like he really tried to call me, like the whole girl, we not even know that he didn't bring you Chick-fil-A or that y'all beefing or like you don't have to disclose everything. Your relationship should have a level of like Ron was talking about earlier, like the Ron was in here. Cut, take two. Like your relationship should have a level of intimacy take three. Your relationship should have a level of intimacy that stays between you and your partner. You know what I'm saying? Like certain things I disclose to my partner, his homeboy shouldn't end up knowing,
Yeah.
Like we should have a level of privacy and intimacy between each other that other people shouldn't be able to know or feel or,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like now like social media especially and like just being online has really destroyed a lot of relationships and the trust and intimacy built in them because now as soon as you feel something and things are going wrong, like people are so quick to just put that out there and information spreads so quickly. Like everyone would know that really quickly, whether you wanted it out or not. A lot of people tend to act on their feelings.
Right.
Which is like you and your partner should always remain looking like a united front. You should never be putting out anything that's showing vulnerability or weakness in your relationship. That's something just between you guys. And I think social media has also created this like false reality of what a real relationship is because even when people do just show the good things and like you see how long it's been and you see all their dates, all the times they're having fun, all the times they're happy, it creates like people start to think that that's all relationships are when really there's a lot that's not seen.
Right.
And it's like people feel the need to meet such high levels in a relationship. That's why they think they need to force things so much and just be so happy when really there's a lot going on behind that nobody else sees.
Yeah, people always say, they look so happy, why'd they break up? Like, that's what we didn't show you guys, and I'm glad that we didn't show you guys that, like that's between us, like, I mean, I'm not to say that you always have to have fake the front for the internet or anything like that. Like, no, if a relationship's not good right now, that's fine, but we don't have to put that on the internet,
Yeah, I think that comes with maturity though. 'Cause
Yeah.
As not for everyone, I'm telling you wrong, but as you get older, you start being more selective with who knows your business.
Right.
That's why I didn't touch on it as much because yes, when I was in high school, I don't think I even wanted people to know my business.
Right.
I didn't put it on social media, but now that I'm in college, I'm even more selective with my business and other people's business.
Yeah.
So
So another part I wanted to talk about was cheating, stealing. A lot of TikTok has really made it to seem like it's normal to take a girl's man. Like that is not cute at all. Like, oh, like she gonna have to say please if she want her man back. Oh, she's like, girl, what the hell? What is happening? Like,
yeah.
what? And that's the thing too. You have to. I think that comes from the fear of being alone sometimes because a lot of girls would be like, fighting to keep their man after he cheated. If you cheat, for me, if you cheat, it's done. Because at that point, you don't have the respect for me that I would have wished you had for me, that I would have thought you had for me. So I'm going to leave because I don't feel like I'm being respected,
Sorry.
I'm
like, I just...
Yeah, you're fine. Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah. You said if you don't respect me.
Oh, yeah. So I feel like I think it's not cute. Let me just tell y'all, I'm gonna keep it real. It's not cute to be like, oh, I stole her boyfriend. Oh, he's talking to me now. You can't get a man on your own. Like, it's not cute to want to take someone else's situation. It's really tacky, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'll say it nicer.
Like, it's like, no.
You're basically putting your insecurities on display. Like, if you know your worth and you're secure in yourself and your relationship and how you act and all that you give to yourself and others, you're not competing with anyone. Like,
You wouldn't want no one else's man.
there's no,
You'd want-
like, honestly, there's this guy at the gym, story, who basically asked for my number and then gave his girlfriend a kiss goodbye. And then he came back to ask my number, and I was like, why would I want your number?
Right.
You can't even be faithful to her. Like,
You're not gonna be faithful to me.
Yeah.
like, this isn't attractive. You know, that's
Yeah.
not good. So yeah,
Yeah.
your word, it don't matter.
Yeah.
You're not competing, so there's no competition.
Yeah. But I want to talk about cheating, but
Cheating,
it's not acceptable
like for women to cheat or like how they should.
to be cheated on as well. I feel like if you
Like,
feel the need to cheat, you should leave. You shouldn't stay in your relationship. You shouldn't try to be like, no. And if you're cheating in your relationship to get back at your partner, you're just hurting each other. You're just stabbing each other in the back again and again. Like, girls, I'm gonna keep it real. If a man cheat on you, he don't love you the way you think he love you.
no.
There's a difference between a mistake and a decision. Cheating is not a mistake, it's a decision he chose to make. And so men be like, it was a mistake, like, I don't really love her for real. You don't really even love me for real if you could do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't respect me enough to sit out here and cheat on me and then come back and make it seem like, you know, oh, we can make our relationship work. I feel like, my opinion, I feel like if someone cheats on you and if eventually you want to make it work, do that, but have time apart. Because he will not change if you stay, you know? I feel like he won't realize that what he did was wrong until you know, take a step back from the relationship. You know, you can't be like, you know what, you cheated, but we still finna be together. We just gonna need time to work through this. I feel like you kind of gotta let him work through it himself. And then if you see that he's really changed, then come back to it. But give him time to try to change and not being in the relationship. Take some time for you to heal too. That's a lot, you know? Like, it could be hard on a person. So, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm listening when I start talking. No, I mean, like, yeah, definitely. It's important to make sure you do have that time if you are still considering staying with that person. Because if you don't, you're just teaching them, like, okay, I can just cheat and cheat and cheat. She'll just be here. And that's like something unhealthy that's really normalized now, and it's really not okay. Like, it's too normal and it's too accepted when it's really like something that shouldn't be normalized at all. But I think also like it's important. Sorry guys, I'm sorry guys. My attention span. I think like also with cheating, I think there's a misconception that like if someone cheats on you, they don't love you, which could be true. But I think that also like people can love you and cheat on you. But I think it's important to acknowledge that there's more to a relationship than just love. Like there's respect, there's trust, there's loyalty, there's everything you guys built into that, and relationships are more than just love. You should never stay just because you guys actually do love each other.
Yeah. But love is like, can be like the base, but you gotta build on that.
Yeah, love isn't everything.
Yeah. Some people always think like, oh, like, love should be enough.
Love should get you out the door.
Right.
But you need things to keep you walking.
Yeah.
I think if you are I'm not saying cheat. If someone does cheat, leave. But if you are the person who is cheating, they figure out why you're cheating. So I feel like 9 times out of 10, it's not because you don't love that person. You know?
Yeah.
Something's going on. And it's not right, but like address it. Let's
Yeah,
talk
maybe you
about
just,
it.
oh, sorry. Maybe you just don't know how to love correctly. And that's okay, but don't cheat.
Yeah. That's something you gotta deal with within yourself.
Yeah, I think a lot of times people in our age, or even maybe in your age, get in a relationship because we don't, like, what was I gonna say? Okay, I feel like a lot of times people our age get into a relationship but don't know who we are, haven't even started to even look into ourselves and try to figure it out a little bit. And I think when we don't even know kind of the things that we're doing, we put them off onto other people. Like sometimes I feel like men cheat because, you know, my dad cheated on my mom, so now I'm a cheater, or I'm cheating because that's all I know. So I feel like once you start to realize some of, like you said, like once you start to look into yourself and kind of, you know, see some of the patterns that you are doing, you are creating, you will figure out the source of some of your pain. So I think just take time to look inwards and look at yourself and what you're doing and how it can be affecting other people. Because sometimes when we're hurt, like people say, hurt people hurt people. So when you're hurting, you're putting on your hurt to your girlfriend, who probably doesn't even deserve your hurt because she got hurt. She's trying to
work through.
Yeah.
There is definitely a thing called subconscious sabotage. Like you're sabotaging your relationship and yourself without knowing. And I realized I was doing that without knowing, because I noticed like when we grew up, it's a lot of like teaching. Yeah. I noticed that sometimes in even my friendships, I was teaching more than I was listening. So then I wasn't growing and I wasn't hearing them. So I feel like it's very important to watch yourself whenever you're handling someone else. Like I said, reality mirrors your mentality.
Yes, reality mirrors your mentality.
It's telling you something about yourself. So just listen, like literally pay attention to the smallest things. You can't just not pay attention to who you're attracting. Because in a time where I was going through a breakup, I was attracting very insecure men. And I was like, why? Like, why is this happening? And then I started journaling and I started doing that stuff, and I was like, oh, it's because I haven't worked through these insecurities. So I'm attracting them, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, just pay attention.
Yeah. Okay, well, I don't really know if there's any more topics I have, but I'm going to look.
Look, the lighting's cute.
Right. Oh my gosh, it's nice right now. I think we kind of covered everything. Well, I want to say thank you guys for being on this episode with me. This is episode 2. I just want to say, anything you guys want to say? Any final words?
No, I mean, if you have questions, reach out to Yealaaaa. You will tell us or answer your questions. So
yeah, always. If you guys have anything you need further clarification on, please, like I'm always going to say in all my episodes, please message me on Instagram, or if you see me in the flesh, ask me, or like whatever it is. If you have a question, please, I want to answer them. I want you guys to grow and really take something away from this. Always have faith in yourself. Trust yourself. Learn with yourself. Do some self-introspection. Look inward. Be self-aware of your emotions, of just everything. And girl, if you with your mans, love your man. Love everything. If you got a boo, we love you and your boo. Thank you for watching.
Yeah.
And yeah, bye.